more each day. You are the one I call my strong tower, and you never failed me one day. Your love is more each day. You are the one I call my strong beloved. You are equal.
Shalom, shalom. Greetings to you all in the name of Jesus Christ. I pray for you, like Paul prayed for the church of Ephesians, that the eyes of your understanding may be illuminated, be flooded with light, that you may know him. And I pray that you be strengthened in your inner man. You come to the knowledge of the fullness of God through his love. This is another day that the Lord has given us to share more and discover more about the gospel. And the gospel will be the only message that remains, as it talks about the past, present, and future, but cover it in one person, Jesus Christ, saying that he is enough, and knowing him, you know everything. The Bible says that all knowledge and wisdom is hid in him. All wisdom and knowledge, all riches of wisdom and knowledge, we find it in him. And we'll never be desensitized from Jesus because he's sufficient. In the church of Colossae, they were desensitized from Jesus, and so they were complaining about hearing from him always, and they were like, there's no any other message. You talk about Jesus as though there's nothing else to preach. But he says, Paul saying, look, we have decided, of course, he's the message and the messenger. He's the message and the messenger. And this is one of the things that the presentation of the gospel has prior to this time, that before Paul actually presented Jesus Christ the way he did, people didn't see Jesus as sufficient even today. And the fact is, when you add on or remove something, or trying to actually complete him as if he's not complete, and that is a sign that you never saw Jesus in his fullness. So you're trying to add something that you think is missing. But that is a deception, because there's nothing missing today. There's nothing missing. You fail to see that there's nothing missing, but the fact that Jesus is there, he is sufficient. So what we do in the gospel, it is to find out, to discover. And you all should always remember that we are not trying to bring something new. We are trying to help you see what is already there. It has not just happened today. It has happened many, many years ago. But the perception people carry along with them is probably not of the reality of Jesus Christ, the truth about Jesus Christ. Do you know that what amazes me is that they might have full information or knowledge or grounded in Adam, the man who even existed before Jesus appeared in the flesh. But they are so much in touch with him, the man who does not even exist. But when Jesus came and stopping that flow and the new lineage was about to be born, it is not considered as something significant. Think about it. Think about it. Who came before the other. Who came after? If someone came, for example, I give an example. If there is a construction going on, a project of building a house or a mansion, and the first engineer comes and instead of building it as it was supposed or as indicated by the owner, he fails. And so the first engineer charge of building that construction and putting it up is fired. And after firing him, you hire, or they hire, another new builder or engineer who's supposed to build it. And what do you think? And he is given the task of revising everything that was done before, but done wrongly. And he revises and changes everything, even the blueprint, and restructure everything and puts up a new building. You see, what we see from there is the first building is gone and is no more. What we see today is the second building, or if you want, the revised building, which the second and the last engineer or builder did build or put up there. It is then confusing to see someone holding on to some building which was demolished and destroyed, and even the builder was fired. The first builder was fired, and we have another one, the true and the existing house and the building, you can even see it, and the one who did it is even present and real, and people still cling or connect to the first one who didn't even do anything, who didn't build anything. You see, that is what happened, that the career of Adam was summed up by the appearance of Jesus Christ. He actually stopped the flow and the works that were done by this man before, because of his power and ability. He's the one who's present. So we should actually know ourselves and know more about Jesus Christ and how sufficient he is. So people will look back and see how insufficient and how the first man failed, and therefore there are consequences caused by the first man. The first builder was fired, and the building was also restructured and rebuilt again. Everything was revised. Why would you connect with the failed career? This is the working one, the real one, the successful one. And I'm just bringing that illustration to help you see what people think about Jesus. You know, when they see Jesus Christ, I don't know whether they know how to distinguish that the failed career of Adam was summed up by him, and is the one who's real today and is so present. I want us to discover this is what the gospel reveals, because it talks about those two men, the first man and the second one, the first Adam and the second Adam. We are seeing his mercy. You know, whatever he's producing and showing forth, he is far different from what the first one discovered or showed us or brought about on the earth. And in this story, in chapter 2, verse 15 of Mark, we're reading, now it happened as he went dining in Levi's house, that many tax collectors and sinners also sat together with Jesus and his disciples, for there were many, and they followed him. So many tax collectors, probably invited by this Levi. Of course, he had friends, and he invited them because Jesus had decided to go to his house. You see, this is amazing. It wasn't enough for him to just talk to him. It wasn't enough to tell him to follow him. It wasn't enough, but Jesus decided to go with him in his own house. Levi had a house. If you were to observe it aside without seeing what Jesus is trying to do, you would probably think that he wants to connect to the sinners. To be with sinners. He loves sinners, and he's a sinner himself, like the Pharisees insinuated. But we'll discover that that's not the purpose for his going into that house of Levi. There was a purpose. There's a reason why Jesus went into that house of Levi. So it is amazing that he was followed by many people and many tax collectors. And this will now actually offend the Pharisees, the scribes. They will be offended. They will be offended. They will be offended by Jesus, because at least they say, okay, at least, we hear you teaching, trying to show the way of God, but you associating yourself with this man. Now, it now destroys every regard we had for you. We don't understand. We are confused. How could you? Yes, talking to him, yeah, but look, now you are even going into his house, that dirty house. This was their understanding. So many tax collectors and sinners, imagine, not only tax collectors and sinners as well, different sinners. Jesus was found with sinners, and you wonder, why was Jesus always with the sinners? Oh, glory. And his disciples, for there were many, and they followed him. So there were many. The disciples of Jesus also were there. Many other sinners, tax collectors. This scenario itself would bring about confusion to those religious minds. Verse 16 says, and when the scribes and Pharisees saw him eating with the tax collectors and the sinners, they say to his disciples, how is it that he eats and drinks with tax collectors and sinners? Definitely, like I said, it was very offensive. How could he eat? How could he eat? Now, I want you to see something here before I proceed. That when Jesus called Levi, he did not leave him out. He went with him straight forward in his own house. And this was very, very significant if you are to see it in divine perception. What is the meaning of the house? What is the meaning of this house? You see, according to the scriptures, we realize that the house, the true building, means our bodies. So our bodies are the true temples of God, the true house of God that accommodates God. God chose to live in us. God chose to unite with us. God chose to to create space so that we may be accommodated in Him. And so there is this union between us and Him. So there is a statement that Jesus is making in Him going, in the fact that He went with this man into His house. You see, notice this. He's not going in His own house. He's going in the house of this man, the house of this sinner. And this was an abomination in the eyes of the Jews and the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and of course, leave alone them, those ones, even the people around who are still judging these tax collectors. But Jesus entering there, it was a statement that, I will not only stop from speaking to you, I will not only come and tell you, please follow me, you'll be on my side, I will be here and I will be there, we are friends we'll be close friends. But Jesus did something significant. He entered in their house. He entered in their house. What is that? He entered in their house. He entered in the house of the sinners. It was a sign that Jesus actually, the purpose was even to unite with us, in that we be in Him and He will be in us. He wanted to be in us, dwelling in us. Because the house, the significance of the house here will be the body. So if He is entering the house of this man, He's talking about Him dwelling in us, in our bodies, in our houses. We are the true houses of God. And He was like, I want to be there and share with you. Share what? Share what I have. Share myself with you. He wanted to share Himself with us. He wanted to share what he had with us. This was the big statement. What a mercy, what a forgiveness. Shalom, shalom.
You never fail me one day. Your love is more each day.